everyone, welcome to Infinity Highway. This is why we do this. Yes, it is. This is why I do this. I think I've said that in the past. This is why I do this right here. We are running US 50 westbound through the state of Colorado out here. Through what I believe they would refer to as the Rocky Mountains. One of my last videos, we were running US 50 through the Rocky Mountains, but we were a little bit more due west than we are right now. We just came out of a delivery that we made back in Penrose, which is about 50 miles off of west of the I-25, if that. Might not even be 50 miles. We dropped off 5 pallets of livestock feed, and we got 6 more. I think they're salt licks. Heading out to Gunnison, Colorado. Picked up back in Fort Collins, a place called Hubbard Feeds. I've been to before once for my former employer. So yeah, we're heading kind of way out into the boondocks, way out into the wilderness here. Yes, this is, I would say, definitely the Rocky Mountains. You know, as long as you got a truck that is in good health, this is like, I love doing this. I'm confident and comfortable that my truck is in good health. It is a little high mileage, but seems to be running well. We'll knock on plastic or whatever we got that it remains that way, because yeah, this is definitely not the kind of place that you want to have any issues whatsoever. Matter of fact, I need to stock up on some more stuff for the truck. I need more blood for the truck. I have enough oil to replenish if it seems like it's getting low. I'm not worried about that, but I need to get some coolant. I need to throw a couple gallons of coolant in here, because this morning when I fired it up, it was giving me an alarm that I was low on coolant. I'm not low on coolant. So what that likely means is that the sensor is going bad, or I was on a slight tilt where I parked, but it wasn't enough to make that thing give me an alarm for low coolant. It really wasn't. So I don't know why that was going off, but but the fact that it went off and I checked and there's no coolant anywhere on the engine, like I don't have a leak, is if I had a leak, it would be pretty evident. Like there would be coolant all over the place, right? There would, you know, splatters of it and stuff, you know, on the engine fan and on the block and all that. There wasn't any. Was none under the truck. No leaks, no puddles. But the fact that that alarm went off, you know, and I'm heading out to the middle of nowhere, I said, shit, man, I need to go get some coolant just to have in here for the scenario where I do run low on coolant. You know, can band-aid together a leak. You know, I need to have some put back in there. I always have water with me for the dog, but you really don't want to be just throwing water in there. I mean, in a pinch, yeah, of course, put water in there, but especially in the winter, you don't really want to throw any water in there. Because truthfully, if you do, you kind of want to go get it flushed out, you know, when you get to a shop. So yeah, I need to get some coolant. I need to get some fifth wheel grease. I don't have any of that in there. I have fuel filters. I still haven't changed my fuel filter for the water separator. I don't know why I haven't. I don't know why I didn't. I've had time to do it. I bought 2 new filters. I bought the wrench to take the damn housing off to do it. And then I just went, oh, you know, maybe it's not that right. You know, shit. I don't know why. You know, like why would I do that? I have them. You know, I bought one to replace the one that's in there, and then one for a spare. I don't know why I haven't. I got to do that. so yeah, I have those. I got oil. Other than that, I don't have much. So it's kind of like, man, if I'm going to come out to places like this, I better be stocked up on bodily fluids for the truck. You know what I'm saying? Fifth wheel grease, you know, I can get by without that until I go get some. But I do need to put some in the truck. So, anyways, whatever. It is what it is. It is 9:40 in the a.m. on Wednesday, December 24th. Merry Christmas Eve, 2025. Almost 2026 here. It's a beautiful day out there, obviously. Sunny. Kind of a cool 60 degrees. But Jesus, look at this frickin' view, right? I mean, come on. You can't beat this. I have never driven this route before. US 50 I have, but like I said earlier, it was a little bit more due west. The area of it that parallels the I-70 going over Vail Pass from that point and then westerly, because I delivered out a load out in Center, Colorado a couple weeks ago and picked one up out of Moscow, took that up to Idaho, so we did take the US 50 westbound out of there. But yeah, it just never fails to impress. Beautiful scenery. I love my office. I love my view. So, yeah, we got 102 miles to get out to Gunnison. ETA is going to be for about 11:45, maybe noon. It's a short haul load. Total mileage on this, going from Fort Collins to Penrose and then out to Gunnison, I think it was like about 310 maybe. And my whole thing, what's been going on, so my father, he's 91 years old. I'm not trying to give you, like, lay into my personal life to you really necessarily, but I'm just kind of letting you know why, what we're doing. So my father's 91 years old. He's still sharp. He's still witty. The guy, he had his own business, a chemical consulting business. That, you know, like agricultural, you know, farmers and stuff, you know, depend on them to kind of give them analysis of future agricultural markets and chemical fertilizer analysis, stuff like that. You know, I don't know exactly what it, but point being, he had his own business. He worked until, geez, how long has he been retired? It hasn't been that long. He's 91. I'd say 78 or 80 years old. He kept on running his own business, getting up in the morning and doing all that. He has a son who has got to be, let's see, probably about 30 something by now, with his third wife, right? Came after me, who is severely autistic. Severely, okay? All kinds of physical problems along with the mental problems. Can't speak, you know, he's happier than shit. He's one of these autistic kids who's just always laughing about stuff. He just loves everything, right? But he's really big. He's huge. He's got to be 6'1" and 300 pounds. A big, strong boy, right? And he doesn't know his own strength, so he can be dangerous, right? Especially for a young kid or an elderly person. Anyways, my dad's been taking care of him, you know, so my dad's a trooper. He's always kept extremely physically fit, worked out, you know, jogged, you know, kept himself in premium physical shape, right? Built. Big frame. So anyway, so as he's gotten older and stuff, you know, he's 91, he's gotten more frail, but his mind has been sharp. About a week ago, next to a puddle of blood. And I guess like he fainted or did something and whacked the back of his head on maybe a kitchen countertop or something. So called 911, took him to the hospital in ambulance, and over the course of the next couple days he became really combative. Okay, and like I said, he's 91, but he's got a large frame. He's a strong guy still, but became really combative and argumentative and aggressive, and what are you guys doing? You're kidnapping me. And the symptoms were those of like dementia, right? The hospital staff was claiming they were saying that, oh, he's got hospital dementia. It happens to older people when they come in, they don't know where they are. My stepbrother was there, kind of monitoring the situation. He was there, serving as power of attorney to make decisions, and stuff like that. And he was like, no, that's not him at all. He's normally very witty and stuff like that. He hit his head. Something's wrong, And his conclusion, based on what he had told me, was, that he probably had some swelling in the brain, or some bleeding in the brain, or something like that. But they couldn't get him in the MRI because he was too combative. They actually had to strap him down. They had to ankle chain him and bind his arms. Right? He actually bit my stepbrother at one point. Didn't know who anybody was. All this crazy shit. So whatever. So he remained in the hospital for a number of days, 4 or 5 days. Gradually he started to ease up, and he was going in and out of moments of lucidity, of recognition. My stepbrother put him on the phone with me one night, and I was like, wow, that's just not my dad at all. It was weird. It was just weird. It was one of those weird things. If you've ever dealt with a senior who is dealing with dementia or Alzheimer's or anything like that, it's just a weird thing, So over the course of the next few days, he calmed down enough. They were going to sedate him to get him in the MRI, but that might have been the kind of thing that might have killed him in and of itself, because he's got heart stents and stuff like that. So they didn't want to do that, but he ended up calming down just enough to get him into an MRI. They did find that he had a brain bleed. He had a small minor brain bleed, but that's enough to cause that kind of dementia kind of stuff going on with symptoms. So for whatever reason, they took him off the blood thinners that they had him on. I don't know why, but they said for some reason that would help the bleed drain from his brain. I don't know. I wasn't there. I didn't talk to him. That's just what my stepbrother told me that they said. And basically that there was nothing they were going to be able to do to remedy that issue up there in his head, without likely killing him, as a result itself, right? He's old. So basically the decision has been made, was made, that at this point it's just a quality of life thing. So they released him from the hospital, took him by ambulance back to the house, set up a hospice bed for him in the front room, and there he lies. Apparently he's still getting up. He's going through more frequent periods of lucidity than he was. His recognition is slowly kind of coming back, a higher percentage of recognition than not, but it's still going in and out. There's periods where he'll recognize family members, and then periods where he won't. but he gets up, he walks around, or tries to do his normal routine, go on his computer and check emails and stuff like that. So overall, not great. I'd rather, and I'm sure that he would rather, if he was able to make the decision for himself, which it sounds like he is kind of, to go home, right? And if that means living for a shorter period of time, a couple weeks, versus laying in a bed in a hospital room to live a couple months, that's what I guarantee he would want, what everybody else wants. So that's what's happening. So I've been trying to get down. He lives in Albuquerque, New Mexico. I got the news on my way from McAllen up to Sparks in Nevada last week. And ever since then, once I delivered that, I've been trying to make my way down to Albuquerque. I couldn't find anything straight through Albuquerque from Sparks, so I ended up picking up a load that paid really well out to Denver. And then spent the last couple days, what's today? Wednesday. Yeah, so spent yesterday and the day on Monday trying to find anything that would take me straight through down to Albuquerque. Way easier said than done. Because, my authority's so new, not a lot of brokers are willing to do business with me yet. They usually want to see at least 6 months, most of them. Some of them are a year, some of them are 2 years, And so everybody who was supposed to load down to Albuquerque was that situation, so I couldn't get anything. This load popped up, and like I said, a little bit over 300-mile load. Pays extremely well by the mile, because nobody wants to be coming all the way out to the middle of nowhere the day before Christmas. Nobody. So it pays extremely well. Well enough that it's going to cover me to get down to Albuquerque after I deliver. So we're going to go down, I could have actually, it's not, finances aren't an issue. I could have just, ran empty all the way down to Albuquerque and not been in bad shape. It's not crazy, but I got to keep my business in mind, right? So this load is paying well enough to handle the delivery and then cover my fuel and to pay myself to run empty from this second delivery down to Albuquerque, right? It's paying really well by the mile, like over $4 a mile. So that's why I'm doing this, and because it's an adventure and I like doing adventures. This guy's just like, shit, that fucking truck. I knew I should have fucking hurried up, got back to the car. Son of a bitch, this truck's gonna be in front of us. That little Jeep right there is gonna be hauling ass to try and catch up to me in this passing zone, I guarantee it. I'm gonna go slow for him so he can, because honestly, I don't really like having vehicles behind me when I'm going through windy, hilly areas at all. They're a nuisance. So, anyways, so we're gonna head out there, deliver this load, and then we have to backtrack on Highway 50, probably 50 miles, and then we're gonna hop on 287 and run 287 south, damn near almost all the way into Albuquerque. So we should be getting into Albuquerque this evening, probably around 6 or 7, maybe, something like that. No, he didn't try. He didn't even give it a college attempt to catch up to me. So, all right, here we go. He's stuck back there now. He's just chilling. All right. He'll be up to me in no time. He didn't try through there. Flies in man. I mean, I had an inclination that we were going to be going through some wild stuff, but this is amazing. This truck, I love this truck. I really do. I've said it already. I love this truck. But boy, it's not, it's no Cascadia. Cascadias, man, I'm like whipping around turns and corners, like hauling ass. This truck is just not it's not designed for cornering as much as a Cascadia is. Not even close. It doesn't have the acceleration. It doesn't corner as well. It probably does. I don't know. As a rule of thumb, and this might even be written somewhere, I don't know, but as a rule of thumb, in my book, you need 6 months to become familiar with any new vehicle, whether it's a motorcycle or a pickup truck or a car or a semi-truck. You need to give yourself 6 months before you start testing the limits of it, right? See people crash like brand new vehicles and stuff because they're not familiar with it. Like they haven't given themselves enough time, and so they try testing the limits of the thing, and the next thing you know, they're spinning out of control and macking into something, right? So there's that. I'm not testing the limits of this truck as of yet. I need 6 months, but so I'm not trying to see if it'll corner tight or anything like that. But the way it feels when you're driving it, it's like it compels you not to corner and stuff like that fast. It's just has a different stance. I mean, it probably will. I mean, I've seen plenty of guys who drive Kenworths and Peterbilts and stuff like that, hauling ass through the hills and mountains and stuff. Hauling ass. Faster than I would go in a Cascadia. So, but, yeah, I'm not trying to FOFO. You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to fuck around and find out. I got too much money in this truck wrapped up. So, yeah, I'm taking it easy. On top of that, being that it's a newer model, 2022, it's got safety features built in, so it'll actually brake if you're cornering too hard and it feels like it's tilting. And I don't mean it'll just disengage the accelerator pedal, and I don't mean it'll put the engine brake on. It will if you have the engine brake on. It'll engage it, but because it will undo the accelerator pedal, and if you have the engine brake on, the engine brake will come on. But no, I mean it'll actually step on the brakes. It'll actually apply the service brakes on you. It's weird. I'm not a fan of it, but at the same time, it's happened once or twice, and I was like, oh shit, maybe I was going a little heavy around that thing, So, I need 6 months. But I do. I love this truck. I really do. I am freaking so in love with it. It's crazy. Patiently waiting signs of livestock. here they come. I slowed down for them and everything. I'm a nice trucker. There they go. Woo! I said that was close. Most guys, they'll speed up in a passing lane. Freaking jerks. I'm like, yeah, I don't want you back there anyways. Come by me. Hurry up. How do you like my my air horn ornament? Pretty cool, huh? Yeah, that's where the air horn is on a Kenworth. The Cascadia, it was up there, you know, hanging right here. So you right? I put that on there. It's just smacking into the window all day, you know. So this one, it's better. It doesn't swing as much either. It really doesn't. But I can use that as like a plumb bob and see how much I'm leaning over and stuff. But yeah, that's my air horn right there. Yeah, I mean, you understand why I have that there, right? It's for when I'm just trying, you need to give the finger to somebody, you know, with a little bit of noise behind it. Fuck you! Okay, a little bit of hyperlapse there for you. It's been a while since I did that. We have just gone through the little old town of Salida? Nope, Poncha Springs. Still in Colorado. Well, of course we are. That's where we're delivering. That's where Gunnison is, still in Colorado. And we're actually, so what I was talking about earlier, oh, thanks Max. I'm doing a video. Yeah, hey, I'm doing a video right now. Can you show a little respect? He doesn't care. So, hang on. He saw cows is what it is. I know, it's amazing. So, what I was talking about earlier, that we had run US 50 a couple weeks ago out of Moscow. This is the section of US 50. That little town right there, Poncha Springs. As we were coming into it, I was like, ah, shit, I recognize this joint. So, yes, we are officially now on already trekked ground, already traversed ground. So, 60 miles out to our delivery. I'm hoping that we don't have to summit the 11,000 foot cares if you get, like you're not climbing at, 70 miles an hour up a freaking grade or whatever? Who cares? You can pass me all day on them freaking grades and other trucks. Pass me all day. I'll see you in about 10 minutes. When we get to the other side and I'm doing frickin', 75 or 80 or better, Not that I do. I don't do better than that. Not in this truck. Just cause. But, I'll see you in a minute. I'll be coming by you to get on the flats. So, not that big a deal. And honestly, it climbs fine. It does. It climbs fine. It doesn't climb like, a DD15 with a 380 rear end or anything like that. But, it does pretty well. It's just the top gears, like the higher range gears. You gotta just shift at the right time, and you can maintain a pretty decent rate. You gotta downshift at the right time, is what I mean to say. You gotta keep your RPMs up, and it's fine. And it's a Cummins motor, so like the DD15, the Detroit diesels, those things are freaking powerhouses, man. I haven't driven anything other than Detroit motors and Cummins. So I've driven 3 trucks with Detroits in them. Well, let me say this better. I've driven 3 Cascadias with Detroits in them. 2 of them were DD15s, 1 of them was a DD13, and a Cascadia with an ISX 15. And then this one. This has the 565 horsepower X15 in it. And yeah, those DD motors, those Detroits, they are powerhouses. They will motor their asses right up a hill. The truck before this one, Rosemary, it had a Detroit 15-liter motor in it, 505 horsepower at 1625 RPM, right? That thing was a slug to climb hills, okay? So let's put an asterisk on everything I just said and say that. It was a slug. It was shabby climbing hills. It had no climbing power. I've said this before. I don't know if that was due to the rear end gearing, because I never saw the specs on it, or if it was just the way the motor was set, the parameters for the motor. I don't know. It could have been both, because that truck, the company that spec'd it out originally from the dealer, was using it to run loads between, I think, like Houston and like Jacksonville, Florida. So literally just running the I-10 back and forth, low elevation, no mountains, no climbing, just little hills and valleys along the I-10 through there, but no climbing, right? So they had that thing set up and spec'd out to be as fuel efficient as possible. So it was a shabby slug to climb mountains. It was the worst one I've driven so far. I hated it. I hated it because I was like, this is a DD15. Why am I not? It was just, there was nothing in it. As soon as you got below 1500 RPMs, all the power just fell off. That's why I think it was the way the motor was parameter setting, the settings on the motor. And that is why I ended up taking it into a mechanic, using I paid my own money to do it and reconfigure some of the parameters on it. I had him reset the governor to 80 miles an hour for it, and I had him like 1625 was the governed RPMs on it. I had him elevate that to like 1800, I think, or 1825, somewhere around there. Just so, like, because what was happening climbing mountains is I would get up to that governed RPM in a gear, like, let's say I'm picking up speed in 8th gear, right? Like the mountain I'm climbing is starting to start to level off, and I'm able to pick up a little bit of speed. And I go to upshift, so you hit that 1625 top end, and you go to upshift, and it would dump you at like 11 or 1200 RPMs, and there was no power there at the low end of the RPMs. So by increasing the governed RPM to 1825, I could get up to like 1700, 1750 RPMs. When I upshift to the next gear, it would put me at like 1350 or maybe 14, and it would have enough power to continue increasing speed. Otherwise, it would just bottom out. Even with that, sometimes upshifting, it would start falling away again. You would start losing speed again. So I hated that truck. But like I said, I had him put the governor up to 80 miles an hour, so it compensated, it made it up for it, right? It didn't bother me anymore once I had that done. Tried increasing the horsepower like settings on it, but the guy who was doing it didn't have the proper software for it, because you need like they have a basic software package, you know, that they basically subscribe to from like Detroit or from Freightliner or whatever, so that they can make some adjustments and stuff like that. But to actually increase the to tune the motor to give it more horsepower, you have to have like an actual brand name software from Freightliner or from Detroit. They don't have that, so we weren't able to do that. But it helped out a little bit making those adjustments. Definitely the governed speed adjustment helped out a lot, and increasing the RPM, that helped out a lot. The other thing about that truck was it had what was it called? It had another fuel economy setting on it that was called progressive shift. Okay, and this is strictly for fuel economy in mind. So normally in any vehicle, when you're shifting through your gears, picking up speed, you're basically running from, just as an example, 1,000 RPMs to 1,500 RPMs. In cars and pickup trucks, it's going to be way different, right? But in a semi truck, that's basically where your sweet spot is, between 10 and 15. Your sweet spot is closer to 15, but that's your basic area is 1,000 RPMs to 1,500 RPMs. I know I'm kind of stuttering here. So what you're going to be doing is you're going to be running, you're going to start off, the motor's idling at, 600 RPMs. You're going to start off, you're going to work your way up in that first gear to maybe, depends on if you're heavy, depends on if you're climbing, but for this example, we'll say you're on level ground and you're relatively light, So you're going to pick up speed to, maybe 1,300 RPMs, maybe 14. You're going to shift up. It's going to dump you off at 9 or 1,000, RPMs. And you're going to do that again up to 13 or 14. And then it's going to dump you off in the next one, again at 9 or 1,000 RPMs. And you're going to work through it like that. With the progressive shift, what you do is you're starting off from level idle, you work your way up to like 1,000 RPMs, right? And then you upshift. And then The next gear, you work your way up to 1100 RPMs, then you upshift. The next gear, you work your way up to 1200 RPMs, then you upshift. So forth and so on, right? Until you get to 1500 RPMs or 1600 RPMs, then that's going to end up being your top end gear right there, right? They do that to save fuel, so you don't have to run the RPMs all the way up to 14 or 15 before you shift every time. That's progressive shift. Now what progressive shift does is, for some reason, I don't know why, but it messes with your cruise control. I don't know why it does this, but because the progressive shift is after fuel economy, when you go set your cruise control, the truck will, like, even for the slightest of incline, I'm talking for an overpass, where normally a DD15 is just powerhousing up, you know, just powering up everything, right? It would, like, even the slightest incline, an overpass, you would lose like 7 miles an hour while you got the cruise control set on. And I was like, man, what is up with this truck? Because all day long, for 11 hours a day of driving, I'm sitting there with my foot on the accelerator pedal, trying to compensate for these little increases in incline, you know, these, or decreases of speed for incline. Not only that, but even on level terrain, it would drop like 2 miles an hour, and then it would sit there. So if I have it set at 70, it would drop down to like 67 or 68, and it would just sit there. It would never pick it back up speed. And when you're in a line of trucks, those little differences make a difference, because you got all these other truck drivers with motors who are running cruise control dead on. They don't fall off of 70 at all. If you got one behind you, that guy's like, oh shit, this truck's slowing down, I gotta come around and pass him. So all day long, I'm sitting there with my foot on the frickin' accelerator pedal, trying to compensate for these little lags. And God, it was so freaking annoying. So that's why I took it to the shop and paid to have it dealt with myself, because the boss, he didn't care. It didn't mean shit to him that was going on. He was never gonna like, because I would tell him, dude, we need to do something about this truck. It's not handling this stuff well. Man, it's just keep driving. You know, it's like, fuck, dude. So I took it in myself. I paid for it myself, and I got those things taken care of. We disabled the progressive shift. Fuck his fuel economy, man. You're like killing my freaking leg, dude. Like, it actually, you know, as a truck driver, your cruise control is your best friend, you know, because your right foot, man, it's gonna get tired quick. It'll start cramping up and shit when you gotta keep it on the fucking accelerator pedal. I've had it happen before where, like, the cruise control button stopped working, you know, the cruise control stopped working altogether. I had to drive like a day and a half with no cruise control. Dude, my freaking foot was just, it was cramping up, and muscle cramps in my calf. It's a real thing. So yeah, I paid for it myself. Got those things taken care of, and it was better. It wasn't perfect. I still had to, like, compensate for it occasionally, but it was better. It was definitely better. So, anyways. This one I don't have to, like, do any of that. The cruise control stays pretty well steady. The only time it lags off is, you know, when when I'm justifiably climbing something and it doesn't have the torque for it. Other than that, it motors up stuff pretty good. It doesn't do that lag like that one did. So it's good, no? Okay, that was the summit right there, 11,350 feet. Give or take a few. have to do that twice because we have to go back there to Poncha Springs or whatever. So all of this that we're doing right now, we have to backtrack after we make this delivery. Holy shit. See? The freaking thing just hit the brakes because it thought I was going around that turn too fast. It actually hit the brakes on me. Jesus. I didn't think I was going too fast, but Jesus, that scared the shit out of me right there. It actually did. It scared me. I was like, what the fuck, am I tipping? That would be a disaster. That would be a huge disaster. I would be finished. Yep, that hill climb right there just dropped us 1/10 of a mile per gallon. And it never picks back up very quickly. It always, like my MPG meter, it'll drop pretty quick versus picking back up. Like, so for a hill climb or something like that, it will reduce in a matter of minutes. But when we get back out on the flats and where you think and where you expect it to increase in MPG, it takes forever to get 1/10 of a gallon back. But we will be doing this empty on the way back, so this load was actually surprisingly heavier than I thought when I picked it up. Oops. It's only 11 pallets. And it's livestock feed. I guess I mentioned that already. So relatively heavy pallets. I expected when I booked the load, the way it was posted, said 45,000 pounds. So that's what I was expecting when I went and picked it up. And then when he finished loading, I looked back there and it was only 11 pallets, nose loaded. Yeah, I was kind of surprised, and they scaled me out. I think my gross was only like 58,000 pounds, so it's not very much. So what would that be? 34 plus, let's see, 34 plus, so yeah, like 24,000 pounds, maybe 25, I guess. But it's I guess because it's nose loaded, it was registering kind of high on my load suspension meter. Higher than I thought for 11 pallets. We only have 6 left back in there, and my meter's right at the 40 mark, which indicates a heavy 6 pallets. Whatever, we'll deliver this. We'll be empty on the way back, so That does not mean my MPG will increase by any means. My tare weight when I scaled empty yesterday at the shipper was 34,600. Not bad for this kind of truck. It's right about the same as like it was with the Cascadia. Right about the same. Maybe 600 pounds more. I think the Cascadia was right at about 34, so it's not that much. Not that much more. For as large as it looks compared to Cascadia, not that much more. Watch out for rocks. I always see them signs that say watch out for rocks. But you never see any. Seeing a couple out there today. Sitting in our lane. It's because of the snow. Snow and the cold, you know, the water will get in between crevices and rocks, right? Just liquid water. And then when it freezes up, it expands and dislodges the rocks. Just like a shim. Only one. Hey, he's not being pushy at all either. He's been pulling back pretty good. I smoked that tail we had on us earlier coming down the grade. smoked them. Like I said, they were laying back pretty good coming down, so I had a feeling once we got on the flats, he was probably, yeah, he's way back there. He's about half a mile behind me, but he's keeping up now. He might be catching up. Oh, that might be a new tail. Oh yeah, that one. Oh, this one's coming up hot. Yeah, he's coming up way hot. I don't know if you can see him. He's coming up hot. He's like, yeah, this truck up there in front of me. I better do 90 to catch up to him, and then that way I can go 65 once I get in front of him. That's what people do. They're like, oh shit, that truck's going fucking fast. I better hurry up and catch him so I can slow down. They do it. That's weird. It's a strange thing. I mean, I get it. I drive a pickup truck too, right? Truck drivers, we have personal vehicles too. We don't just drive trucks like everywhere we go all the time. So we get it. Yeah, you see a truck up there, you're like, that's gonna hold me up at some point. I gotta get up to him and get by him so it doesn't screw me up. But the people who do it and then they just lay back and drive slow in front of you, yeah. Those people need a lesson in Max. Nice, these cows. They need a lesson in manners. Hey girls. Hey cows. Hey girls. How you girls doing today out there eating some gold tail, huh? They call them grass sickles. They're eating grass sickles today. Hey Max, you're barking so much you're losing your voice. This freaking dog. Alright. Hey girls. Hey cows. Yeah, there was a bunch of them down there. Yeah, there was black ones, and red ones, and brown ones, and maybe even a white one. Wow. Yeah, it's amazing. Yummy. Business break. Yeah, dog, gotta take care of some business. I could smell it while we were driving over here. This dog, I got him out earlier when we were at the receiver back there in Penrose. We got up really early. We got up at like 5:30. I guess he told me 8 o'clock delivery this morning, but I looked on their thing and it said they open at 8:30. So we got up really early, got out, and so he can take care of his business. And he would rather play with his pig the whole time we were there waiting for them to come open up than do his duty, so to speak. And I don't know if he ever did. As far as I can tell, he never did. And on the way out here, sure enough, I started smelling some business. Started smelling some scents on the business end of this dog. Said, yeah, he must not have gone. He's got one cooking in there. It's baking in that little oven. And it does not smell like cookies. So yeah, we're a little bit early over here. I told him ETA would be 11:45 to noon, and it's only 11:30 right now. We only got about 3 miles to go. So let him do some business before we go deliver this here. I'm just gonna follow him around until he squats, I guess. Yep. It says, mind your own business, please. Does that feel better? Yeah, it feels better. Good boy. So much better. And it's better for me too. It's the park of the forgotten snowman, the fallen snowman. Yeah, that's a shame. Somebody must have knocked off his torso and his head. Poor guy. I'm not gonna put him back together either. He ain't Humpty Dumpty. Here we go. Here we go. Nope. Don't do that. Nope. Yes, this is the town of Gunnison. If you were wondering, yeah, I bet you probably weren't, but now you know. If anybody tries racing up to get ahead of me here, I guess not. They're laying back. Good little four-wheelers. Alrighty, we have arrived, and we're gonna back in from the street here. We're gonna make an attempt to, anyhow. Truck is a little less user-friendly to back in. You don't have the visibility out the window like you do in a Cascadia. Now, it's taking, there's a learning curve to it, for sure. But we're going to give her a go. If you can hear this thing, how high it's idling right now, it drives me nuts. It's a unwelcome attribute of having an after treatment system on a truck with a Cummins. Detroits don't do this when you're out of, when your brakes aren't set. They don't do this to you. need to do one while you're parked. There's a button that you press to initiate the regen. Stand wrenches. The issue is that when it's doing this to you, and you're just trying to do a low speed, the engine is racing, so it causes problems. I gotta go. Oh my goodness, man. I'll tell you what, I don't know if I mentioned this yet or not, but the deal with this load was
in 1/2 mile, turn right on US 50, then take the first left.
This particular stop, being the second stop, required pallet jack, because he doesn't have, it's a ranch, he doesn't have a loading dock. So yesterday when I was talking with the broker about booking this load, and he let me know, like I mentioned already, it paid really well, and it's affording me to get down to Albuquerque empty. So he was like, yeah, do you have a pallet jack? I said no. And so I was like, oh, well, he goes, well, if you can find something, let me know. So I called around, I went on Craigslist, and I found 2 pallet jacks that were for sale over there in Denver. And they were located at a secondhand store. It was actually called Charlie's Secondhand Store or whatever. And I got a hold of him, and he had 2. And I asked him, how much, and he said the better one that was in a little bit better condition was $125, and he wanted $50 to deliver it to me at the truck stop in Commerce City. So $175. I said, well, what about the second one? So that one's $50 plus, $50 for delivery. I said, okay, let's do that one. So I let the broker know, and I had the guy come deliver the cheaper pallet jack to me. Cool. And we got all the other stuff hashed out as far as completing like carrier contract, carrier broker contract. And is this my way out right here?
Turn right on US 50, then take the first left.
Jesus, this is kind of it's kind of sketch, man. There's got to be another one. There's got to be another one up the way here. That one's kind of sketch. Yeah, we'll go up to the next one. I'm sure there's got to be one.
Continue on US 50.
Yeah, there's got to be one. So we got all that stuff done, and he's like, here, because it was getting kind of like late, because like I wanted, with the idea was wanted to try and get the deliveries done last night, and it was getting kind of late. So he's like, here, let me give you the address. We're gonna get everything worked out. I'll send you the rate con on the way, but here's the address so you can get going. Cool. So he got me the address. I started driving up there. He got me the rate con. And by the time I got up there, I had all the information, everything, you know, contract was done, everything was good to go. And, you know, so I picked up this load, and like I think I've already mentioned, it was like, it just was like, seemed heavier than, I don't know if we can do this, man. Yeah, we can. I think we can. I think this one we can do. Watch out, Max, watch out. And so yeah, it just looked heavier, you know. I've already said it. It felt heavier than what 11 pallets should feel like. I dropped off those 5 this morning, and it still felt heavy. It was like, man, there's only 6 pallets back there. I'll tell you what, man. I just pallet jacked those 6 pallets out of the back of this frickin' trailer, all the way from the front of the nose. And the way we were in his driveway there, we were kind of at an uphill slant, or I guess a downhill slant. So the back of the trailer was like facing up a little bit. And that pallet jack, $50 pallet jack, it was the one, like, it was the lesser of the two in condition. Oh my freaking God, man. Those fucking pallets were so fucking heavy. It damn near killed me. Each one of those 6 damn near killed me. Being a smoker for as long as I've been a smoker, knowing that it's killing me, and being a truck driver, I mean, I used to do tile work, and so like physically exerting work was nothing to me. I mean, I did it every day, all day for, you know, 8 to 10 hours a day. It was nothing to me. But sitting my butt in the front, in the driver's seat of a semi truck for the last 5.5 years has put me a little bit out of shape. And each one of those 6 pallets damn near killed me. I swear to God. They were so freaking heavy, it was just unbelievable. Those were the heaviest pallets I've ever freaking had to pallet jack out the back of the truck. They had to have been at least 4,000, probably maybe 45, maybe 5,000 pounds each. That's why this load felt heavier than what it should have been based on just the pallets. You know what I'm saying? Just on the pallet count. Because those 6 pallets, unbelievably heavy. And being that I was using kind of a raggedy pallet jack, you know, like the first pallet that I pulled out, one of the front wheels on the jack itself was falling apart, and like a chunk of it got caught underneath itself. And I'm just going, man, I can't get this thing to roll, you know? And well, yeah, it was shimmed up underneath one of the wheels. Pulling those things, like even up the slightest bit of incline, it was just exhausting. My legs were just burning. But we got it done. We got it done. My lungs are just like wrecked right now. And so add in the fact that we're at 7,700 feet elevation, and I'm not necessarily acclimated to it. I don't live at 7,700 feet. I live on the coast. I live at sea level. So, man, woo, burning. Lungs are burning. So, anyways, that's it. After kind of a long story here, that is it. We are done. It is a wrap. So that's it. I hope you enjoyed the video. Please, you know, leave a comment, like the video for sure, subscribe to the channel and all that chizzy jazz. And wish you all a Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And with with that, we are gone. See y'all somewhere down the road. Take care. Bye.